I thought this could be a fun idea for a video. This is the clutch quarterback tier list. Is your quarterback clutch? Are they not clutch? And first, I have to define what I mean by clutch, because clutch doesn't necessarily mean good. There are great quarterbacks who aren't clutch, like Peyton Manning. There are, quarterbacks like Joe Flacco who are very clutch. What I mean by clutch is, how do you elevate your game in the big moments with, the game on the line or the season on the line in the postseason? How do you perform above how you typically perform if it's just, a random, week 4 game in the second quarter? How does a game get better? Does a game get worse? So right off the bat for Ryan Tannehill, I'm going to put him in C tier. I think that he's someone who, the playoff game against Cincinnati really works against him. That was not a good performance, and in a big spot, that's tough. He has had some solid moments in the playoffs, but even that playoff run, he wasn't throwing the ball a ton. I like Ryan Tannehill, but I'm not sure if I would call him overly clutch. And for Tua, I think I'm going to be pretty similar and put him in the C tier as well. He has had some, I think about his college days, there was times when he didn't totally show up in the big moment, but there were times when he did as well. So he's had moments of looking very good. He's had moments of not playing particularly great. And at the NFL level, he did kind of have a very bad game in a very important game, not last year, but the year before. I believe that was against Tennessee, if I remember correctly. So, not clutch, but not clutch either. I haven't seen it yet from Tua, really, because he got hurt last year. And last year, we would have really gotten an opportunity to see if he is clutch or not. He just unfortunately got hurt. Hopefully we see it this year. Aaron Rodgers, do you have to put him in D tier? I mean, he's won a Super Bowl and played well in that Super Bowl, but I just feel like, I don't know, I'm struggling with him. I'm going to think about it for a second with Aaron Rodgers, because, listen, there's no denying that the Packers underperformed. I think the question is, how much of it was his fault? Like, that Seahawks conference championship loss, I don't put on him. That was just a disastrous situation. He's had some very bad moments in the playoffs, but he's also had some great games that the team let him down. Like, I thought against Tampa Bay, sure, he didn't get it done at the end, so I guess you could still argue it wasn't clutch, but he's had some moments. I'm not going to put him in D tier. I'll put him in C tier for now, and we'll see how it goes. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is someone who absolutely rises to the occasion. I'm putting him in S tier. I mean, he does. He rises to the occasion. He tends to make things happen. Or do I have to put him in, now that I think about it, I'm actually going to dock him a spot. I'm going to put him in A tier. Here's why. It's just a clutch argument. That's all we're discussing. He had an opportunity against Kansas City to win that game in the conference championship last year. Didn't happen. And he had an opportunity to tie the game against the Rams, and that didn't happen. Was it his fault? No. But, that's kind of how the nature of the sport. It's kind of how it works. So I'm going to put him in A tier. But he could definitely get to S tier before too long. Deshaun Watson, I feel like Deshaun Watson typically performs kind of poorly in big moments. I'm going to put him in D tier for now. Had a very bad postseason game against the Indianapolis Colts, and I thought could have done more to help. Once the Texans got up to 24, I thought didn't have a great game in that one either. So again, maybe D tier is harsh. I don't know, but that's how I'm going with it right now. Trevor Lawrence is another C tier for me. It's sort of needs more work. Obviously, he had the 5 interception game in the playoffs, but he wasn't actually that bad in that game. It was kind of fluky a little bit. So I think C tier feels right. And then for Jared Goff, I mean, the reality is he's had some playoff games where he's performed well. He's had some big games where he's performed well, but I just can't not think about that Super Bowl. So it has to be D tier. I mean, that Super Bowl was a meltdown, and until he goes on another deep playoff run, you're just going to be in D tier until you have something that sticks in my mind, outside of that. So again, saying that it's really, what have I seen from you, right? Obviously, you can change. There's been quarterbacks who we felt like weren't clutch that became relatively clutch, but it's, all I can go off of is what I've seen you do. Kirk Cousins, I mean, D tier. It's literally a meme that in prime time he plays poorly. Like, that's literally a meme. So yeah, obviously D tier there. Baker Mayfield actually is very clutch. Again, keep in mind what I'm talking about with clutch. It's not how good are you, it's how much do you elevate your play in the big moments. Baker Mayfield massively elevates his play in the big moments. He's definitely an A tier. Like that Rams game is the perfect example of him just at the end finding a way to get his team to win. If every game was a big game, I think Baker Mayfield would be a good quarterback. It's just that's not how it works. It seems like definitely clutch. There's other issues with Baker, but yeah, that's where I have him. Brock Purdy, I'm going to put him in B tier. It's definitely seems like we just need more time, but again, we've literally never seen him play poorly, so I think you got to put him in at least B tier. He has played well in the playoffs until he got injured. Falcons, this is a tough one, but I guess if we're going to say Taylor Heinicke, let's use Taylor Heinicke because I don't know anything about Desmond Ritter's clutchness, really. But Heinicke's someone who plays well in the big moments as well. He elevates his game in the big moments. I'll put him in A tier too. Why not? Lamar, I don't think Lamar is D tier the way some people would put him. I think he gets too much fault for some of the playoff struggles, but I can't put him higher than C tier. He hasn't elevated his game in any way in the big moments. Justin Fields, another, I feel like, we need more time with him. Just going to put him in C tier just as kind of like we just haven't seen enough of his play. So, yeah, C tier there. And then for Dak Prescott, I might be doing a lot of C tiers at this point, but I think I'm going to put him in C tier as well. It's kind of a meme that I feel like every Cowboys quarterback doesn't perform well in the final 2 minutes and stuff like that, but Prescott's had some moments where he's showed up. But just, again, it's kind of just a solid fine. He's someone who he's typically in the big moments. He's Dak Prescott. He sometimes plays well, sometimes doesn't, just like he does, regularly. So for CJ Stroud and the Texans, I'll put him in B tier. Never played an NFL game, but obviously has had clutch moments in college. So yeah, B tier feels fair there. For Richardson, it's C tier. He's a complete wild card. Matt Stafford, finally have an S tier here. The S tier was created for Matt Stafford, right? The guy who, I brought up Joe Flacco. Like, that's Matt Stafford. Stafford's a better quarterback than Joe Flacco, but the idea of like a good quarterback that once the postseason comes around elevates his game, I'm going to put that into S tier. Justin Herbert, people could definitely throw Justin Herbert in D tier. I think some people would. I'm still going to be a little bit nicer and put him in C tier for now. I don't think he's been a disastrous clutch quarterback or anything like that. But, again, I've yet to see him elevate his game in the big moments. Actually, that's not true. That Raiders game, they lost it. But that Raiders game, when they were just converting on fourth down after fourth down after fourth down, that was pretty good. Now I think about it, I'll bump him up to B tier. B tier feels good for Herbert. Garoppolo has, again, I think Garoppolo deserves a D tier. I do. I think Garoppolo has had real struggles in big moments at times. I thought that, again, it's kind of a crazy sliding doors moment where if the 49ers held on to win, if he makes a couple more throws in that fourth quarter and the 49ers win that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, Mahomes is now 1-2 in Super Bowls, but also Garoppolo would have won the Super Bowl MVP. However, he didn't because he missed some throws that he should have made, and then also had a poor, I thought, conference championship against the Rams. So a couple of tough big moment situations. So he's going to be D here. Again, Brissett hasn't really been in a lot of big games or big moments. He's going to just go to C tier. Mahomes is interesting. Mahomes has had S tier moments. Mahomes has had D tier moments. He absolutely has. Mahomes is someone who, I think about the Bengals loss, a couple years ago in the conference championship. That was him really having a kind of a meltdown at the end of that game, to be honest. Whereas I also think about the Super Bowl run when they were down 10 points every single game, and he came back and found ways to win. He's had some bad playoff moments, but I feel like the good has outweighed the bad. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I think he's had some really good clutch moments, but there's also been there's his resume is not perfect. There's some knocks on his resume, so for me, B tier feels fair. Next up, the New Orleans Saints, who have Derek Carr now as their quarterback. Carr is very clutch. Carr does perform well in the big moments and does tend to have a tendency to, when his team is down late in the game, you still feel like you have a chance because of Derek Carr. Now, only played in one playoff game and played well in that playoff game, but not spectacular or anything. Kind of was Derek Carr in that playoff game. So I don't know if I can quite put him in S tier. I like to save the S and the D tier for kind of the ones that really are undeniable. There's a question with Carr, so I'll put him in A tier, but still, very clutch. Performs better when the game is on the line than he does typically. Daniel Jones is clutch. I'm going to put him in A tier too. Absolutely. He's someone who performs at his best when the game is on the line. Had a really good playoff game. Again, the Philadelphia game, I'm not going to hold that against him too much. Yeah, that's A tier. And for Jalen Hurts, do I want to put Jalen Hurts in A tier as well? Yeah, I do. I think that, again, I don't know if I can quite put you in S tier just yet. Maybe I can. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Seems like he always performs well in the big moments. The last we saw of him was last year, was him marching down the field to get an 8-point touchdown drive, tying up the Super Bowl. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm tempted to put him in S tier. Not going to though. Going to keep it at A tier, I think. The Kenny Pickett, he's been clutch. I'll give him B tier. Yeah, I've liked what I've seen from him in big moments. Such a small sample size, hard to say. Hasn't, played in a playoff game yet or anything like that. But yeah, so far, I like what I've seen from him in big moments. Russell Wilson. So I think I'm going to still put him in S tier. Listen, I know then the last season aside, let's look at the bigger sample size with Wilson. He's one of the guys who we know as someone who, finds a way to get victory, snatch victory from the jaws of defeat throughout the course of his career. Hasn't happened so much in Denver, but again, I'm not going to hold that so much against him for 1 year. Does it again, though, he can't be an S tier. You got to drop him out. But for the course of his career, Wilson's definitely been S tier. The question is right now, but the course of his career, for sure, S tier. Jordan Love, that's kind of hard to say, right? C tier, who knows? And Bryce Young, probably kind of feel the same way of just someone who's like, again, you can look at the college stuff, but as a whole, nothing really stands out for me there, so I'm going to just keep it at C tier. Kyler Murray, you know what? I hate to do this to Kyler, because I like Kyler. I think I got to put him in D tier. That one playoff game was a mess. It just was. And it wasn't all his fault at all. It certainly wasn't. He probably got too much criticism, if we're being honest, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It was a little tough. And I think that he has, I don't know. It's small sample size for him in big games and big moments and stuff like that. But that's where I'm going right now. Because, again, it's below average is how I view it. And I think it was below average. I think that's kind of how I view him now. Could he get better than that later in his career? Sure, of course. I'm just evaluating what you've done so far. Have you been clutch? That's the question I'm asking, not will you be clutch in the future. Josh Allen. So, again, there's people that would put Josh Allen into D tier. Josh Allen's a guy who's, had a bad, kind of a disastrous playoff game by Buffalo in general. He wasn't, I don't think, the issue. I thought he got too much criticism from that. But still, I think some people would say, hey, the Bills have been in a lot of big games, haven't won a championship, got to put him in D tier. You could also argue that he had, two basically perfect playoff games in a row. The Patriots game where they scored a touchdown every drive, followed up by the Chiefs game where they were 13 seconds away from winning. To me, he kind of is in the same boat of like Mahomes, where really good player and tends to play like how he plays in the playoffs that he does in the regular season. He's a very volatile player, so yes, there's been high highs and high lows, just like how he is in the regular season. But I think there's been a little bit more good than bad with Allen personally, so I'm going to keep him B tier. Finally, two left. First, we have Geno Smith, who I'm going to put in C tier, maybe B tier, but I feel like C tier feels right. Had some moments for sure. I thought had a good playoff game against San Francisco despite the loss. Had some, actually, screw it. I will put him in B tier because I also would throw in the Broncos Week 1 game. I think that him, playing well in that game, sort of the quote of, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back, which I still don't fully understand what that actually means, but it sounds cool, so I give him credit for that. And as a whole, I think that he did some good stuff. So, B tier feels right. It gets a little bit better in the big moments. Nothing massive, but yeah. Again, Mac Jones, how do I feel about him for the Patriots? I don't know. You could argue D tier. I'll give him C tier for now. The playoff game wasn't great, but I didn't think there was a lot he could have done there. When your defense is literally giving up touchdowns every drive, what are you going to do? What can you do in that scenario? Last year was just a disaster. You could talk me into C tier, but I'm going, or you could talk me into D tier, excuse me. I'm sticking with C for now. So yeah, that's my tier list. Those are the clutch quarterbacks tier list. Only 2 S tiers, and one of them is Russell Wilson, so people are going to have some frustration with that. It's a hard thing to evaluate clutchness. It really is. It's so subjective that it's the only reason to do this exercise is for entertainment. So hopefully that's all you got out of it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.